we're going to roll into our next speaker, which is Nana Grafimi, who is with the Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Murders and Justice Warriors for Black Lives, who is an attorney and an activist. Welcome, Nana.
Thank you so very much. My name is Nana Gyamfi, and I am a member of the Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Killers, as well as a we're old as dirt and twice as funky, almost 30-year movement attorney out here in these streets, doing work on behalf of the community, including co-founding Justice Warriors for Black Lives. I will talk slower for the sake of interpretation. Thank you so very much for having me here today. I am honored to be here, honored to be invited, hoping that I'll do the job that our dear Margaret Prescott hoped that I would do in talking about what these efforts mean and how we've seen these efforts impact our communities, particularly Black communities. The Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Murders was founded and led by Margaret Prescott coming out of the late 80s. And what was happening were hundreds of women over a 20-year period, Black women and girls, were killed by not just one, a series of serial killers within a 40-mile radius of South Central Los Angeles. There was no effort on the part of city officials, county officials, law enforcement, both city, county, in various areas, including Inglewood, to solve these murders. And repeatedly, Margaret, the families, the loved ones of those victims, and other concerned community members, including myself, were told, I don't know why you're pressing this. After all, these are just prostitutes. That was a common theme over this 2-decade period that Margaret and others had to push back against to get some kind of result. And we know from the research that people have done that police went so far as to write at the top of the police reports when these women, Black women, these girls, Black girls, were found in alleys and trash cans, NHI, which stood for no human involvement. That's how they were describing these sisters. And again, they're describing them that way because they saw them as folks who were sex workers, who were on drugs, and therefore who were literally not human and not worthy of human concern. And in that 20 years, when we think about the lack of investment that was put into bringing some kind of peace to those families, many of whom ended up having their loved ones' deaths connected to Lonnie Franklin, who was dubbed the Grim Sleeper. And I saw just a couple of days ago this image of Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and his team on SoFi Field prepping for the Super Bowl. And I'm seeing the sheriffs in Villanova prepping for the Super Bowl. Do you know how much money we're talking about? Millions of dollars, you best believe it, being invested into so-called safety, mainly targeting this issue of criminalizing sex work. Let's be clear, this is not criminalizing human trafficking. They could give a damn about human trafficking. They're unconcerned. What they're concerned about is how they can criminalize sex work and make that money, make those profits, keep that business of criminalization going on the backs of our people, particularly targeting Black folks, particularly targeting trans folks, to the point that even when my friends from out of town visit and they want to take a walk sometime after sundown, I'm telling them, don't do that, because you're going to be stopped, you're going to be taken in, and you're going to be accused of sex work and all of the horrors that come from that in your interactions with the police. And so I'm hoping that we can continue to get out the word that there is a stark difference between the investment in care and the investment in support for people who are engaged in sex work and sex workers versus the investment, the vast investment in law enforcement and in the caging and criminalizing of people who allegedly they're concerned about. And we further see that lack of concern in the way in which city officials and law enforcement literally interact and treat people that they suspect, let alone know, are engaging in sex work. And so, of course, what I've described with respect to the Black women and girls who were victims of Lonnie Franklin is one area, but I also am working on the cases on behalf of the victims of Ed Buck, who was victimizing Black young gay men who were engaged in sex work, killed 2 of them, almost killed the 3rd within a 2.5-year period. Those men described going to the sheriff's department in West Hollywood and being told to get out of here. You know, we don't want to hear from you. And we know again and again, you know, from your own lived experiences, that interaction with the police is not like it is on Law and Order SVU. There's no Olivia Benson who's just so concerned and trying to figure out how to get you housing and how to get this and how to get that. But instead, it is a very harmful, violent system that hits with full force. We're talking about whether you're young people who are teenagers to folks who are elders. And so I'm pleased to be here speaking with those of you who are doing this work, both the sex work and the liberation work, in order to make sure that people are free. And we stand with you, both as the Black Coalition fighting back serial murders, as Justice Warriors for Black Lives, and as me, myself, and I, Nana Gyamfi. Thank you.